Do you notice this? There are orchards that bloom almost at the same time and then bear fruit very evenly. While many people take very careful care, apply a lot of fertilizer, but the trees still bloom sparsely. Fruit set is uneven. Some trees are already ripe and ready for harvest, while others still have young fruit, making care and harvesting difficult, and also affecting yield. The difference is not about using more fertilizer or more chemicals, but lies in a simple technique that has been used by many growers for a long time, but very few people know. Hello, I'm Max. In this video, I will share with you the secret that helps many types of trees bloom at the same time, bear fruit at the same time, using a completely natural technique. If you love gardening tips and tricks, simple, cost-saving, but highly effective, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next useful videos. This root stimulation method is called controlled water stress. Thousands of years ago, farmers in areas with clear dry seasons noticed the phenomenon. After a period of drought, when rain returned, many types of trees bloomed very simultaneously. From this observation, they began to stop watering or create drought conditions to trick the trees, helping the trees shift from the growth stage to the reproductive stage, flowering, fruiting. This is the origin of today's water stress technique. But very few people know. Sounds simple, right? But besides that, there are also many people who fail. According to my experience, many people fail with the water stress technique. Not because they do the process wrong, but because they start at the wrong time. This is the key point. This is the most important step, and also the step you must absolutely not rush. Before starting the step-by-step technique, you should also remember, only start when the tree has finished a growth flush and entered a stable stage. If water stress is done too early, when leaves or shoots are still young, the tree will continue prioritizing stem, branch, and leaf growth instead of switching to the reproductive stage. Therefore, before doing anything, I always advise you to observe the tree carefully. The easiest sign to recognize is that the latest flush has fully matured. At this time, the leaves have turned dark green, thicker, harder, and no longer developing. In addition, the tree also needs a healthy green canopy, stable growth, no pests, and no signs of nutrient deficiency. When these conditions are met, only then should you start the water stress technique, because the right timing is always more important than doing it fast. After identifying the golden time, now we start the water stress technique. Don't think this is simply stopping watering. In reality, the goal of this technique is to create a controlled dry period. So the tree senses environmental change, thereby changing its physiological state and preparing to enter the flowering stage. Here are the 3 steps you need to do. Step 1, stop watering. The first thing you need to do is stop watering so the soil moisture gradually decreases naturally. If the growing area has canals, ditches, or a water source that always keeps the soil moist, you also need to limit the amount of water that continues to seep into the root zone, because if the soil is always moist, the plant will find it difficult to sense the dry period, and the effectiveness of the technique may be significantly reduced. Step 2, limit rainwater. If you apply this technique at a time when rain may occur, try to limit rainwater from soaking into the root zone. Many growers choose to cover the base with plastic sheets in such weather conditions in order to maintain stable soil dryness and prevent a single rain from interrupting the entire process. Step 3. Keep the soil well aerated. For areas where the soil retains water for a long time, you should also keep the soil surface well aerated so moisture can escape more easily. When the soil dries evenly, the plant will sense the change more clearly than when part of the soil still holds a lot of water. And there is one thing I want you to remember very clearly. The controlled water stress technique is not meant to make the plant wilt or become exhausted. Its purpose is only to create a moderate and controlled water deficit, enough for the plant to change its natural physiological response while still maintaining its vitality and ability to grow after the treatment stage. How to recognize the signs and determine the timing of water stress. This is a stage that requires you to observe very carefully, and it is also the stage that requires the most experience. Being able to read the plant's response will help you know when to stop the water stress process and move on to the next step. If water stress is not enough, the plant may not respond as desired. But if water stress is too strong, it can seriously damage the plant. So how long is enough water stress? In reality, there is no exact number that applies to all gardens. The duration depends on many factors, such as soil type, weather conditions, and plant health. Therefore, instead of just counting days, you should observe the actual response of the plant to make the right decision. Another way, observe the plant's response. Instead of relying only on days, focus on visual signs on the plant. When you see 3, 4 out of the 5 signs below, the plant is ready. Temporary wilting. Leaves droop slightly during hot midday around 11 a.m., 2 p.m., but recover in the cool afternoon. This is the most important sign, showing the plant is under moderate stress. Leaf color dulling. The leaf surface loses its usual shine, and the green color becomes slightly dull and darker. Slight leaf edge curling. If you observe carefully, the edges of older leaves curl slightly inward. Dry soil at depth. Use your hand to dig a small hole about 6-8 inches. If the soil at this depth is dry and crumbles when squeezed, it means soil moisture has decreased significantly. Brightening of dormant buds. The dormant buds, where flower buds will emerge on branches, begin to swell slightly and appear lighter in color than normal. Important note, remember to clearly distinguish between temporary wilting and permanent wilting. If you see the following signs, you must immediately water the plant as emergency rescue to avoid severe weakening or death. Leaves remain drooped all day. Even in the early morning and late afternoon, they do not recover. Leaf edges begin to dry and burn from the tip inward. The plant begins to drop a large number of old leaves. During the water stress process, there will always be unexpected situations. If you handle them in time, the effectiveness of the technique will be better maintained. If rain occurs during water stress, if it rains, check the covering sheet if you are using one, and make sure rainwater does not seep into the root zone. At the same time, clear drainage channels so the soil does not stay wet for too long. Why has the plant still not flowered? If the plant still has not flowered, check the plant's health, leaf maturity, and soil moisture. In many cases, the plant does not have enough nutrients. The leaves are not fully mature, or the soil is still too wet, so the plant does not respond as expected. Therefore, do not rely only on time. Observe the actual response of the plant to evaluate more accurately. If the plant has responded as expected, the water stress process is only partially complete. At this point, you need to continue caring for the plant properly, so it can gradually move into the flower bud formation and development stage. The important thing is, you should not suddenly change the growing conditions. Continue observing the plant's response and adjust care according to its actual condition, so the plant can recover stably and grow strongly. Water stress technique is not about neglecting the plant due to lack of water. It is a water management method based on the natural physiological principles of plants. When you understand the principle correctly, choose the right timing, and always observe the plant's response. And this technique can help many types of plants bloom more evenly while still maintaining stable growth. However, you should also remember that not all plants are suitable for this technique. Therefore, learn the characteristics of each plant and only apply it when the plant is healthy to avoid affecting its growth process. In addition, always prioritize safe farming methods. Use water properly. Limit chemical overuse. And together, protect the soil, water resources, and the living environment. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss practical, simple, and effective gardening tips and knowledge in future videos. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and see you again in the next video.